What's good, everyone? This is DJ's Raw Uncut Truth, giving you the raw content that you deservedly need, representing that new media. Nation United, joined by the brother Hoop Jargon. How you doing, my brother?
Doing good, DJ, man. What's up, man?
Man, we having a good day today. It's sunny out here where I'm at. Going to talk some HBCU football. Now, I watched the Jackson State versus Mississippi Valley State game. I knew that Mississippi Valley, their D-line, is very talented, and they were going to cause problems in the Jackson State's running game, and it did the whole time. Let me tell you some things I liked. The offensive line of Jackson State has size, and the crazy part is they're adding more reinforcements in the fall. They handled their own, especially for pass blocking. Now, the run blocking, it was good enough. Of course, Mississippi Valley State had the advantage because they got a better D-line. Matter of fact, they got one D lineman who was an NFL prospect. So they held their own. Jalen Jones, he's played really well in that game. Now, a lot of people are not going to say this, but Jalen Jones in the third quarter was off in his passes. He had a great start until that third quarter. The third quarter, he was missing targets. I believe, look at the stats. Jalen Jones in the third quarter, the second half, was 1 for 10 passing. He has to clean that up because there's other quarterbacks like Shadir Sanders, and shout out to IVD Press. Shadir Sanders will be available next year, and you know he can throw. Hoop Jargon, from what you've seen, what are you impressed by Jackson State?
Okay, I guess I'll keep it in the context. We'll just focus on Valley game, and then we can talk about the Grambling game, which to me is more telling about who Jalen Jones is. But let's keep it with Valley. Like you say, D-line stout with Valley. Now, I will say this. Valley going to get steamrolled this whole year, man. Their last season, they were 2 for 9. I mean, we far removed from the Jerry Rice days. I think we all understand that. I will say, and I think there's a great point you brought up about him having a bad third quarter. But with a lot of coaches to tell you, man, you start off the right way, you leave yourself for some leeway early. So they jumped on their head 30-0 at halftime. So, and Jalen Jones, man, he looks very, very good in the pocket. And what I do like about him is even when he doesn't convert, what you see in the SWAC sometimes is some quarterbacks, once there's like a pass rush coming, they'll abandon all principles, and it's all kind of bad stuff happens. We're talking turnovers, we're talking wild, errant passes, and what have you. What he will do, even if he doesn't get the yards, he has the ability to take in the pressure, assess, and even whether it's a throwaway where you don't lose yards, or he may scramble for a few, and that may lend itself to his 6'4" frame. So I do. Let me lead in what I do like his pocket presence. Even though he does, have some accuracy issues at some point.
Yeah, Hoop Jargon. You hit the nail on the head with that. His pocket presence. He's improving every game. And is it me, or I know that Mississippi Valley State had a horrible record last year. They were 2-9, but it seems like Jackson State is improving each game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this game, they made sure that they shored up the middle better than the previous games. Hoop Jargon, you said something very interesting. You talked about the Grambling game, and I think that is a litmus test of what you can see from Jackson State. From that Grambling game, what were some key points that you picked out from it?
Yeah, so and this kind of is a offshoot from the Valley game. So one thing I did notice in the Valley game is like they didn't get rattled off big plays. So Valley was getting like, you remember they had the quarterback. I'm sorry, they had the fake punt, which in those situations that usually leads to a touchdown in SWAC football. You can get a first down conversion with stuff like that. They didn't get rattled. They locked in and they stopped. They also had a big goal line stop against Valley. They did the same thing against Grambling to win that football game. The same exact thing. they actually lost the so towards the end of the game, and I want to talk about the actual game, but I want to talk about the two things I saw permeate in both football games. When Grambling, they beat them at Grambling. So if y'all don't know, to win at Grambling is a hard thing to do, even in the COVID era. I don't care. Eddie Robinson's spirit still looms over that stadium, man. Y'all gotta understand that is the standard in HBCU football. So with that being said, they had the goal line stand, and the brother from Missouri, his name Arby Miller, had the key strip at the end of the game, and it damn near was identical. It wasn't as impactful of that goal line stand they had against Valley. So what you see is consistency when it's time to lock in. So that's one thing that stood out to me, that Grambling game offensive side. I mean, offense aside, we're just talking defense in both games. And like you said, improving each game and being timely when it's need to be effective on that end of the football.
Yeah. You're so true, my brother. And let me add on to that. Dalen Baldwin, the receiver, number 6. For some reason, I'm not trying to say this because I like watching Jackson State and I want to see them do well. But he looks like he has pro ability. Do you think I'm wrong in that? He's 6'3", 210, can run.
No, what he looks like to me is an impact player. Now I know Dede Bowie has more attempts, like he's their workhorse receiver. But yeah, Jalen Baldwin, when he gets the ball, it looks like, damn, this dude can do this next level. Now I've seen a lot of 6'3" receivers in the SWAC, so I'm not gonna go crazy over that. But when I watch him, it looks like a pro prospect to me. As far as the red zone threats, he reminds me a little bit of the Jordan Humphrey that played for UT a few years back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. That's what he kind of reminds me of. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I agree with you. He does like a pro prospect when I watch
him. Here's something that people don't want to bring up or not going to bring up. Now, Grambling just lost to Prairie A&M, and it should tell you how talented the SWAC is. I think the SWAC has improved so much. A shout out to Gunner Boy. Shout out to Danny Joseph, repping New Media, always supporting all the videos. IVD Press. So there's going to be some games that they're going to get tested. They must improve in that third quarter. If Jackson State doesn't improve the third quarter, they could they could lose a game like Alabama A&M, who is looking really good, and they got a pro prospect quarterback.
Yeah. So to me, Jackson has 3 challenges. Like you say, Bama A&M is going to be one. Southern, I don't care who on the roster, they always going to be Southern Jackson. If y'all know that rivalry, it's always going to be a game. Just how Grambling and Jackson is always a game. And I gotta give Deion credit for this. He broke a losing streak that's been going on since 2014. So Jackson's been getting their asses handed to him since 2014 by Grambling. And if you follow the SWAC pages, they never let them not know that. So, because Jackson and Grambling is usually a tough game, and since the 2014 season, that's 6 if you don't quote me. Include last season. That's a big deficit that they've been experiencing. So, that's a good win in multi-facets with Deion pulling that off. And I gotta say, and then like you said, Prairie View, as a school I went to, that's gonna be a challenge too. So, like you said, Prairie View just beat Grambling. We actually beat them for the 3rd time in 3 years, and to give you full context, we probably beat them 6 times in about 4 years combined. So that is like I say, Grambling is a standard. So that's a very, very quality win that Jackson State put up, and I want people to not undermine that. And I want to talk a little bit more about that Grambling game, but yeah, man, this is a good program you're looking at, and they're not even at full clip yet. Like you said, Shadur is not behind center yet, so they're going to figure out what Jalen Jones probably going to transfer. That's the writing on the wall. But right now, this is his resume to build. I think he's a freshman too, so he got time. So there's just so many storylines, bro.
Jalen Jones is a redshirt sophomore, and I know he's playing somewhat well right now. And this is not hate. This is just observation, right, brother? Jalen Jones, what he needs to do, he needs to take it up even another notch. You know this in competition, hoop jargon. If you're close to the quarterback range of talent, the young player will play. It's always like that. And Shedeur Sanders does something that Jalen Jones doesn't have so far. Now, Jalen Jones has improved, but Shedeur, this is all him. Pocket awareness and accuracy. There's a lot of throws, especially in that third quarter. And I know you've seen it hoop jargon that you're saying to yourself, Shedeur Sanders would have hit the tight end at the seam route. The tight end, number 85, he's always open. For some reason, they never hit him. So it's things like that, the underneath routes that are open, your check downs. And I seem, when I see Jalen Jones play, it seems like when the pocket collapses, what is he doing? Instead of looking at the extra check down, he's running. With Shedeur, he gets the ball off so quickly that it gives everybody opportunity to catch the ball. So it's going to be very interesting. I told a lot of my friends who watch hbcu football, I said, this is pretty much, no offense, this is the B team of Jackson State. And they're like, DJ, what are you talking about? And then I showed them the recruiting class and some of the players that are not playing. Now, we know Deshaun Warren, the number one JUCO corner, is playing, and he's shutting down so far.
Yes,
it's been
he
a
is.
shutdown. He looks like he's going to be a pro. He's 6'1". They put him at man-to-man. They don't do no help man. He guards his man. He guards the best receiver the whole game.
Yeah, I'm with that, man. And, it's funny to call this team the B team because this team is probably going to win the SWAC. But that is a very –
That's crazy to think about it.
Yeah. But this is kind of what, the videos I've been making, a few months ago. Like, this team is going to be scary good, man. If they're this good right now, again, the Valley game, you can take that with a grain of salt. They beat Grambling year one with their guy who's not going to be the guy, which is Jalen Jones. And I think he's going to be a great quarterback for somebody else later. Because like you said, DJ, Shedeur Sanders is Shedeur Sanders, man. And that's just what it is. Now, I do want to say against Grambling, I don't want to undermine his win because some people say, oh, they beat Grambling. This is a very storied team and a lot of athleticism up front. And they had a great quarterback, well, a very good quarterback in Higginbottom in their dance step. So it was a quarterback duel if you really understood the game. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I want to give Jalen Jones flowers, though. So with him, like you said, when it breaks down, he will trust his feet. I'll give him that. But he set up that him being a dual threat quarterback, he set them up to do those zone reads late and to do those, I think it's a quarterback screen that broke the game open to beat Grambling. So, again, what you'll see is in the SWAC is guys who can run, but guys don't really have that second gear or that second, second playmaking ability from the quarterback. So basically meaning you're just scrambling idly, but you're not scrambling with purpose. So I got to give him credit because as much as he needs to work on that, I've seen so many bad SWAC quarterbacks in my day who's 6'2", who can scoop. It's just like their process wasn't correct. And so that's something that I know is with Jalen Jones. Again, he's no Shedeur Sanders. I'm not saying that, but I do like what he does. Yeah.
Jalen Jones is playing better than most SWAC quarterbacks. Let's keep it a buck. His only dilemma is, like we said, Shedeur, a super accurate pocket passer. And Shedeur's not a runner, but when he runs, is good enough to get you a little here and there. But he passes so well. I'd rather have a quarterback like that, where it may not be the top-notch runner, but can run good enough, but really a pocket passer.
Well, I mean, they got Tavares Jackson from Alabama State into the league. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
You don't have to be a strong runner just when you run when it's time. But if you know how to hit
you're
your guys,
accurate enough. But here's how explosive Jackson State will be. We didn't even talk about this player, Travante Rucker, former Florida committed to Jackson State, was invited to the Under Armour All-American game, and as you know, it was canceled because of COVID-19. Travante Rucker is a speedster. And if you add that with Dalen Baldwin and then the Louisville transfer that's playing right now. He's playing good. Number 9. Let me see. Number 9. I can't believe I forgot his name. He's a transfer from Louisville.
You talking about Bowie? Bowie's leading them in receiving yards.
No. Dalen Baldwin is the one leading receiving yards. I'm talking about the other guy. Let me look this up. But number 9, he's been standing out so far, and I know he doesn't have the same yards as Baldwin, but he's been good as well. Corey Reed. Yeah, Corey Reed Jr.
Okay.
He's also 6'3", 210. And he's putting up good numbers. Big boy. See, this past game against Mississippi Valley State, Baldwin had 6 catches for 136 yards, 22 yards per catch. That's explosive. 3 touchdowns. And then you had Corey Reed Jr. in that same game, 5 catches, 120 yards, 24 yards a catch. That's explosion. And I didn't even get to Warren Newman, who's a speedster, and he should have had that punt return touchdown.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, he got tripped up a little bit. Yeah.
But brother, man. I gotta
say this. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'll let you say what you're gonna say.
No, I'm just saying I like what Jackson does in their special teams too, man. They are like a triple threat team. And like you said, this is their big team. they and here's the reason why I compliment these things. Well, let me say this. They kicker, I seen him miss 2 extra points, so I can't give him too much credit. Well, I can't give the kicker credit per se. But like I've seen man, I'm a former SWAC athlete. I played basketball at Prairie View. I went to every football game. Like I know what SWAC football looks like. And it's best and at its worst. I've seen Bruce Eugene in person. Like he gave us, I think we lost to them 70-7. He was a quarterback at Grambling State. For y'all who don't know, Bruce Eugene was like a pro quarterback. If you could have left him hamburgers alone, he would have been like, you know what I mean?
Sound like a Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah, he was like the poor man's Jamarcus Russell, man, or like Byron Leftwich. You remember that ilk of quarterback, just fat boy who just had a gun on him. That's who Bruce Eugene was. And actually, if you watch BET, man, back in like the early 2000s, he had a show around him. It was called The Season of the Tiger. And it was a show around the Grambling State football team, but it was basically about him. So I've seen the best the SWAC has offered, and I've seen some of the worst quarterbacks I've seen in my life. So and I've seen some very bad football. Like SWAC football, you see a lot of penalties. You see a lot of, just blown assignments, like missed open catches and stuff like that. I gotta say, man, Jackson a pretty thorough program, man, and I do like what I see. Even though, again, this is the B team, and they still look good, man, to me.
Man, they're often when I learned that most of their offensive line, that they have a transfer here and there that's playing, but that wasn't even their top offensive line transfers that's coming in the fall.
No, bro.
Man, they got a player named Miles John Jor, transfer from Florida International. The brother is 6'6", 320. He's not playing. I know they got Aubrey Miller playing. He's looking. Him and Keontae Hampton are the best linebackers in the SWAC, bar none. They got another cornerback, Javarius Selman from Mississippi State, speedster corner. He'll make a difference in the SWAC. Niles Grady from Tennessee. He's going to be playing in the fall. They have another 6'3", 220 receiver, highly ranked JUCO player, and Joshua Akukwa. I mean, there's so many names on here, hoop jargon. It'll be all day.
They would have to go out their way to lose the SWAC next year, man. And now, I will say this. Now, Alcorn was the reigning SWAC champion. It's not playing this year, so I don't know what they're tuning up with. Yeah, I give them respect, man. Alcorn, and if y'all never been to Itabena, Mississippi, it is Lorman, Mississippi. Itabena is where Mississippi Valley is. Lorman, Mississippi, it is, I don't know how they recruit out there, to be honest, DJ. It takes damn near, I'm not exaggerating, 2 hours from campus to go to the nearest hotel. Now, this was back when I was coaching and playing. Now, they may have threw some hotels in there at the time, but nobody wanted to go to Alcorn, to put it this way. I don't know how they keep recruiting people, man, to be honest, man. So I got to give them their flowers for being so competitive in the back for this many years, past Steve McNair era. Now, I believe his brother is coaching now, right?
Yeah, his brother is.
Yeah. So that's I gotta give him credit, man, because me playing basketball, bro. No, I'm not gassing. Going to Alcorn, you like, goddamn, we gotta go to Alcorn. Like, man, we can't just simulate this game. like nobody wants to go play over there. So I gotta give him credit for being able to recruit guys and then let alone win a SWAC, man. So that's some I gotta give credit, and I hate they're not playing because of COVID-19. But I hate Jackson won't get that challenge, but next year they damn sure will. So I'm curious to see what Alcorn's loading up with.
You're right about that, but I think Alabama A&M will give. I'm talking about for the spring, of course. We'll give Jackson State a challenge, man. When they played South Carolina State, when they beat them 31-7, the crazy part is there were some things they could have done better, and they still blown them out. That quarterback they got at Alabama A&M is the real deal. He's 6'5", 220, got a strong arm. And I looked on the stats, he's a pro prospect at quarterback. So it makes sense. You know, HBCUs every now and then will have a team that just clicks. They got veteran players that become pro prospects, and that's Alabama A&M. Remember Grambling in, I believe, 2016, 17 that year? They went on that run and could have gone undefeated, and they lost to Arizona, which they could have won, but the quarterback was injured. Alabama A&M has that type of team, and they know how to throw. His name is Akil Glass. Akil Glass. This brother in one game had 4 touchdowns. Their receivers are 6 deep at Alabama A&M. They're tough to defend, man. If I'm Jackson,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying if I'm Jackson State, I'm playing a 3-2-6 on that team.
You better get all that coverage in the backfield you can.
Like Bertie Mac said on Players, because it's gonna be trouble.
No, you know what? And that reminds me again, going back to that Bruce Eugene team, man, in 2006. Man, like if you remember, former Cowboy David Hatcher was on that team too, man. So
right.
They had the front line support on the defensive end. They had Bruce Eugene throwing darts, man. I'm telling you, I've never seen a fat dude be able to move how he could move and get out of trouble and just look up field and just. It seemed like dudes was wide open the whole game, man. If y'all don't believe me, go back and go on YouTube and look up Bruce Eugene, Grambling State football. Like that dude was like he projected to be the second round draft pick to replace Mark Sanchez for the Jets if he could have lost the weight. Like he was projected to be a second round draft pick. He just could not lose the weight. So I gotta like give full context in like what you're saying with Bama State. I'm sorry, Bama A&M has going. Yeah, man. And so like those some teams organically they may not have these names that fly off the paper for us, you know, quote unquote casual fans, but they got some guys back there that you may not know, but you don't know them when the time comes up.
Yeah, hoop jargon. One thing that I realized that's going to be scary in the fall is the depth that they're going to have. Now, Isaiah Bolden, the shutdown corner from Florida State, who hasn't played because of the injury, he had an injury or something. Alexander Shaw stepped up, number 17. He was all over the field. He had multiple tackles. I think he had like 15 tackles in the game, and he's a DB. Breaking up passes, he stood out. And I was telling myself, if Jackson State is having depth like this early on, watch out. It's going to be scary hours. The D ends, because Jackson State right now, one of their weaknesses, they don't have a speed D end right now. That will be reassured in the fall. Brothers like Rasheed Lyles, the number 16 JUCO D lineman, and Tre'Davious Carr, the number 21st D lineman in JUCO. They will help with that. Desrazen Ross, number 40th D tackle in the country, will help out with that. I'm just listing players, and I'm warning I'm warning the fans because if Jackson, let's say Jackson loses to Alabama A&M, there's going to be an overreaction and this team ain't all that and all this bullshit. And then when fall comes around, they're like, I didn't see this damn thing coming. You know what's going to happen, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of holding out to and I like the fact that you said the B team. You know what? We might need to kind of get in front of that. We might have start putting videos out, say the B team doing this. Because you're right. Next year, man, I hope for my Panthers' sake that we're getting that SWAC love that everybody want to come play for the SWAC now. Because it's going to be scary next year, man. It's going to be scary as hell. That's just real talk. So, yeah, we need to get ahead of this B team thing, bro. We need to get some foresight on that. Yeah, for real.
If I'm paying view A&M, man, y'all better. I'm telling my team, man, we got to get some type of momentum. We got to beat this team right now before the reinforcements come back on the fall.
Well, let me say this. We've been very good for a minute now, and us beating Grambling again. This is a game that we traditionally we know we're gonna get our ass whooped by Grambling. Last 3 years we beaten Grambling. So just last week we beat them. So we beat them in more of a defensive battle. We beat them 17-10. So I will guarantee you we are not afraid. Because so actually, our head coach used to be a Grambling. So we aren't afraid of Jackson. Now, how we perform on that Saturday is a whole other story. But, yeah, we need to get these rocks off this year unless we got some crazy reinforcements. It's going to be nasty, man.
Bro, a lot of teams are not afraid of Jackson State until they play them. It's when Jackson State, when they get turned up, when the energy is up, like they don't – it's weird in a good way, hoop jargon. Every time there's a play that's missed or an error happens, they come right back around and make some type of big play. When Jackson State fumbled, and I had to talk about this, I think Tyson Alexander from Jackson State needs to be the starter. Kemo Clark, he's been struggling with fumbles.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you realize that, Hoop, but he's been struggling with fumbles. I think he's fumbled the ball 3 times already in 3 games.
One in a very crucial moment.
Yeah. And the one that could have cost them against Grambling.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, thankfully, Aubrey Miller made the right plays. And I hate talking about it because, these young players, I root for them to do well. But we got to be honest. Tyson Alexander is the consistent running back. He holds the ball. He's from DeSoto. Shout out to DeSoto, Texas. So he knows how to make winning plays. DeSoto is a winning program, and they're coached well over there. Tyson Alexander, every time he runs, even when there's not any running lanes, he makes positive impact. He's a smart runner. And
I'm sorry.
No. I wasn't going to say anything important.
Well, I'm just saying, and the stats don't lie. I mean, he got less carries, more yards, 1 less touchdown. I mean, he's splitting hairs 1-2. We're talking about 7.3 yards per carry with Tyson Alexander, and then 4.2 yards per carry with Kamani Clark. So, I mean, that's what else do you need to really see? He's like double his yards per carry, man.
Numbers don't lie, bro. Numbers don't lie, man. And the quarterback room is going to be good. Not just Shadur. You know who I'm impressed with? Quincy Casey. Quincy Casey from Memphis, Tennessee. The redshirt freshman.
Is he the lefty?
He's number 8.
The lefty threw a late game interception. I ain't really like him.
No. That's not Quincy Casey. That's Mallory.
Okay, got it.
That's Brandon Mallory that threw that interception.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Quincy Casey seems like he makes the smarter plays. He get a little here, get a little there, and he moves the chains. One thing Jalen Jones has to work on, he has to realize 9 out of 10 times, the Jackson State Tigers have better weapons than most HBCUs. I'm just talking about the spring B team roster right now. You got 2 receivers at 6'3" and that can get the ball. You got fast running backs and Tyson Alexander and a big old line. Jackson State, especially Jalen Jones, they got to figure out some plays that are what he called guaranteed yard getters. Like it may not be a 50-yard play, but it could get you closer to a first down. That's what they got to work on. And they got to take more chances. Now, they did it in this game, but there were games where Jackson State wouldn't open the playbook and they'll dink and dunk all game, and it will come back to bite them in the rear end. It almost cost them against Grambling State. They got to get rid of that and take more chances, man. These corners in the SWAC cannot guard those 2 receivers.
Yeah, and here's I love watching this team because you got so many games within the game. So one thing I've learned in the SWAC is, man, when you got a dynamic quarterback, you're gonna have a lot of mechanic issues. So you just gotta live with that.
Right.
And I juxtapose that with the year we first beat Grambling, 2009, man. A guy named KJ Black, man. He actually used to coach for Prairie View as well. He's actually in the Prairie View Hall of Fame. If you go to the Prairie View stadium, his picture is up there. And KJ Black is my homie. I interviewed him on my channel. He's an offensive coordinator at Florida. No, quarterbacks coach in the you know how they got these designations for coaches, like the co-head coach or something like that. At Florida A&M at FAMU. So KJ was more or less a Jalen Jones type of guy. He transferred in from Western Kentucky, 6'4", all athletic, dual threat, with a guy named Buford, who was more of the polished veteran guy. And we lost to New Mexico State. And we lost because Coach left Buford in too long. He was a guy who was just, survey the field. He was savvy, 6'1", he knew the ropes. When you put KJ in, man, his first year off from scrimmage, 66-yard quarterback keeper. And he got called back. We lost that game by like 3 points, I want to say. But, again, this is against New Mexico State. This is a game we ain't supposed to be. New Mexico. A game we're not even supposed to be in. It's a guaranteed game. You don't know how this football game goes. Meaning they pay us to go play that game to get our ass whooped. So I watched the dichotomy of what you're speaking about. I got to still roll with Jalen Jones because you want the guy who can make big plays because the reality of SWAC ball is you're going to have some sloppy play in the middle. But do you have the guy that's going to hit the guy for the big play? Look like a Nick Foles, for the Eagles. He was perfect in that perfect storm because he would hit Aguilar deep, whereas, Wentz would play it safe, dinking and dunking down to Ertz and all that stuff. So I see a lot of that in SWAC football. So I got to give the nod to Jones as we currently speak right now with no Shadur Sanders in the mix.
If I'm Jones, I'm in that field room. I'm looking at all my mistakes, and I'm trying to go another level. That is the only way he could start over Shadur. Do you agree with that assessment, Who Jargon, that he has to play out of his mind? That's for him to keep that starting spot in the fall.
He can play out his mind, his body, his fingers, his toes. Deion says it's not starting him over his son. You can take that shit to the bank.
That's why I like to have you on Who Jargon. You don't sugarcoat shit, bro. I love it, man.
Well, that's
I love it.
So DJ, let's ask you this. So let's bring it back. Let's say LeVar Ball took over Jackson State basketball team, and LeAngelo Ball got another year of the building. That's like you asking me. If they had, let's say, one of the best players Jackson State had is Trey Johnson. I'm actually going to interview him soon. Averaged $35 a year under Adam Morrison. So if Trey Johnson was just coming into his own, and LeAngelo Ball transferred to Jackson State, you think LeVar gonna start him over LeAngelo?
Oh no.
Shit, nah. So there you go. That's your answer, bro.
But here's the difference, though. The difference is that Shedeur can actually play. Like some of these coaches put their sons, like they play their sons over players that are not better than them. This situation is different. I don't know, because there's going to be complaining and say, "Oh, he's only starting because he's Deion's son." He's got talent. He's ranked up. He has an 86 grading on ESPN. He's a 4.5 star. So Shedeur ain't no scrub. It's just how the game goes. And shout out to Metro Customer. Said Prime continue to bring our young kids back to our black schools. Love you, Prime. What Deion Sanders is doing, he is trying to level the playing field by being creative in the recruiting trail. Every time Deion Sanders is in the living room, grandma, mama, and them, especially the father, they take a liking to it.
That's fact.
And what you have to do as a coach when you're recruiting, you got to sell the vision. See, a lot of these coaches, and not just HBCUs, but FCS and smaller schools, what they do is, they be realistic, but they don't sell a vision. And the kid is just looking like, and what else you going to do for me besides football? Deion Sanders could go in the living room, said, I'm with Barstool Sports. I have connections. Even if you don't make the NFL, we'll take care of you. If I'm a kid listening to that, I'm committing.
Facts. Dog, what do y'all think, guys, like now, let's take the bag men out of the play. The guys who obviously play these players on the table. Cam Newton, Rich Bush. So let's take those guys out the mix. I'm sorry, I was coughing, man. I don't know if the words came out in the middle of those coughs.
Oh, Lord.
So with that being said, let's take the bag men out of play. You know, these, if y'all know what the bag man is, go Google it on YouTube. These are the dudes who get these guys, these top-notch guys who want the most out of the lesser to these programs, right? So let's take that out of play. What do you think Nick Saban and what's my man from Kentucky basketball? Why is his name escaping me? He's like the most popular coach in basketball.
John Calipari.
Calipari. What do you think these guys are telling these single women in these households to get their sons to come to their program that don't look like them? If y'all catch my drift, what do you think they telling them? You are selling the program. You are selling yourself, and that's what a lot of coaches. You know, I'm gonna be frank with you. They just don't want to do it because most coaches they're so dedicated to the craft. They don't care about talking. They if they could do their job and not talk to parents ever, they would be a pig in hog heaven. And I know this because I know coaches. They hate talking to parents. But the ones who really succeed is not because they're great coaches like that, because they go in their living room, they'll look your parents in the eye, and they'll lie, they'll sell a dream. They'll do whatever it takes to have you sign that letter of intent and send your son to their program. I bullshit you not. Those are the best coaches because then they won't send their assistants. They will go themselves and go do it. That's what prime time represents. A guy that'll sit there in the living room because he has this great personality. Who don't love to hear Deion Sanders talk? Deion Sanders love to hear himself talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a person in this world. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get these guys. And Deion will go do that extra mile because he does it effortlessly. You know what I mean? And so that's what separates the great recruiters from the average recruiters who you call the quote-unquote X and O's guys. Because they seem to be aloof in that place. So we got to understand, man, like Deion Sanders got a chance to take that element from the big boys, quote unquote, to bring that to the SWAC, and he going to dominate, man, as long as he want to stay there. How long he stays, who knows? But yeah, man, that's going to be the difference that separates.
I could see Deion staying there until his sons leave. Yes, I could see that. And I didn't even talk about Shiloh Sanders. Shiloh Sanders plays DB. He could play corner and safety. he actually had some snaps with South Carolina. So he has experience in the SEC. And I'm hearing that he's doing well in the scout team. I'm hearing that the scout team of the players who have made the early enrollees that can't play in the spring, of course, right?
Don't do it, DJ.
The scout team.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
This is what I heard. The scout team is killing the people. Is killing the team that's whooping up on the SWAC teams right now.
Oh Lord!
A lot of people have said this. The scout team is putting up numbers.
And I would say in normal senses that is highly disrespectful to say, but this one you probably right.
It's the truth because they're not a normal scout team. These are players that play D1, highly recruited players. They just, they transferred or JUCO ranked players that can't play because they've already played this fall. The rules are in the spring league is if you play in the fall, you cannot play in the spring.
Yes, sir.
So because of that, the scout team for Jackson State, oh my God, it's I wish I could see it myself from what I've been hearing.
Well, you always can go. So you took a trip to Atlanta, go to beautiful Jackson, Mississippi, and get you a hotel at the Red Roof Inn, and go get your binoculars.
Right. You have a disguise on.
Yeah.
Boy,
I want to get one more reference, DJ, with the nepotism thing, man. If you remember, Doug Williams about 10 years ago did with his son too, DJ Williams. He brought him straight in, and I remember in moment, Grambling alumni did not like his son starting over the previous guy, and he went on win SWAC that year. So people eventually got to it, but DJ had a lot of deficiencies. So, I would not count on any scenario where Shadura's not starting next year. That's all I want to add to that, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The 2022 recruiting class, that's going to be interesting. I think Deion Sanders, this is just a guess. You never know what can happen. I think that Deion Sanders is going to do even better numbers because I think they'll win enough where kids can see the vision. And all they need to see, they need to have 2 or 3 players drafted, which could happen. I'm not talking about this year's draft. I'm talking about next year's draft, 2022. If they get multiple players drafted, the chain reaction to this movement will be pandemonium. Jackson State, they're out here for 2022 offering ESPN 300 players like Justice Finkley from Alabama. This dude got offers through the whole SEC, but they have enough guts to pull the trigger and offer these kids, even if they say no. That's the difference.
Dog, man. So that's why I love doing live tweets. It makes me think about stuff I've heard before, man. I want to say something else, but I want to get to what exactly you just said. Man, some coaches don't understand. If you just ask guys, you may get them.
Thank you.
And the reference I make is one of my homies, man, Lamar Roberson. He went to U of H, and then he went to UL Lafayette, and he's playing big ball overseas still to this day. Him and Tyrus Thomas both went to Southern Lab, which is like a high school that's an offshoot of Southern University. They wanted to go to Big Baby went to Southern Lab as well. He ended up going to LSU after that. They wanted to go to Southern. Coach Spivey, who was a great SWAC coach, he never asked him. He was like, man, if they would have asked us, we would have probably went. We're talking Tyrus Thomas, #1 draft pick from the Bulls with LSU. Him and Lamar Roberson, to give you context, we're talking about 6'8", 6'9", small forward. And Tyrus Thomas about 6'10", power forward, small forward, highly athletic. He said Coach Spivey never asked us. So we just like, well, I guess he don't want us. So they went off to their prospective schools. So, yeah, man, Deion, you got to go for the no, man. If you're in salesman, like Deion is a salesman. I'm in sales. You got to go for the no. You never know what you can get, don't ask. Because like you say, the worst thing they can tell you is no. So if you're scared of no, you'll never know what you can do.
Right on, man. These coaches, man, they got to realize when you do this, when you're in this game of coaching the big leagues and recruiting, you got to take chances. You can't just sit around, because if you sit around, somebody else will scoop right in, and you'll tell yourself, man, I should have offered this kid. I didn't know he was taking a liking to HBCUs. That's what they were thinking when Deion Sanders was offering these kids, and you see interviews of them saying, yeah, I'm thinking about being different. I'm thinking about committing to a HBCU team. And the other coaches in the SWAC and other HBCUs are thinking, wait a minute. I didn't know that. That's what happens when you don't ask.
Brother, you remember when go ahead.
No, I was saying it's just like dating, right? Or trying to holler at a girl.
Facts.
The thing that holds us men back is when we're afraid to ask someone out or to kick it with them because we're afraid of rejection. Instead of taking that chance, you never know. It could be a blessing. It could be the best woman you ever meet. You know, my father was
about to make that analogy.
You were, huh?
Thanks. Now, I know you about to speak about your pops, man. Go ahead, bro.
Oh yeah, I was saying that. I remember he used to tell me that because I used to be like hesitant, and he would tell me, "Son, all they're gonna do is say no, and you just move on, and you find another girl." You know what? Pops was right about that. Good things come to those who do not stand still. They go to those who move. So that's the lesson of it. And that's a lesson to recruiters out there, especially in the HBCU. Scared money don't make none.
Boom. Well, and I would say this, DJ. Remember and we talked about this program at the beginning of the show. Who was one of the first teams off of LaMelo Ball scholarship?
I think it was like Alabama State. Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M. And I can't be mad at them. Like, of course, he didn't come. But, like, throw your name in the hat. Throw your goddamn name in the hat. What does it hurt to ask? What does it hurt to ask, man? What does it hurt to ask? So I respect, because I'm sure they got a lot of more followers on their social media following. Now, I have not restudied the ramifications of them, but everybody put their logo associated to LaMelo Ball, and some people are laughing and shit. Now, let's just say LaMelo humored that and went. Do you think they would have benefited from that partnership? When everybody was laughing because it's put in full context, like, why would you offer him? He's not even ranked. Like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, it just shows you how broadsided some people can be. When kudos to that coach who offered that, man, because that you only offer the current, you know what I mean, rookie of the year. So yeah.
Yeah, it's chances. Yes, there's some losses and chances, but the reward is so much better. That's what these coaches got to realize. You can't go around here and say, I hope this kid could come and contact us, and that doesn't work that way. These kids today, they want to be seeked out. They want to be shown love. They want you to go out of your way to get an offer. And can you imagine if Alcorn State used that same method of Deion Sanders to recruits? Tell them we've won the SWAC championship. We've put a couple pros in the NFL. We have a strong alumni. We have Hall of Fame caliber players through the years, from Air McNair and so forth. That's their message. Now, Alcorn have been getting transfers. They got a transfer running back from A&M, 6'1", 240, big back. He should do damage in the SWAC. So they're starting from there. They're figuring it out. And that's the ripple effect with Deion Sanders. He's putting pressure on these coaches to join him in the movement of, like I said earlier in the show, leveling the playing field. And you know what's so interesting, Who Jargon? When Deion Sanders was talking about his dreams for Jackson State, he was talking about having separate fields for the track so they could have their own indoor meets and stuff like that, having a new field. And everybody was on board. And then there was one young lady that was questioning it, saying that, oh, it's just fine. The facilities are just fine. We don't need all that. And Deion Sanders said to her in a comment, you just got to believe. You got to believe. You got to have the facilities to attract great players. You can't be sitting around in 2021 and have primitive facilities. It's just not going to work.
Bro, I can go on so much of a tangent about that. I'm going to keep it condensed as I can. This is one of the biggest plays in Black HBCU sports, man, is stagnation. And this is not new conversation about, oh, we need to look forward to do this and that. And what you're going to see is a lot of crabs that are going to pull you right back in that barrel of complacency, like the facility. So that's why it takes a guy, almost a Messiah-like figure. Now, I don't want to go religious on this, but a guy just has vision. Let me put it that way. To break that mindset, because one of the easiest things to do is to have status quo. You know, it took us so long. Let me put it to Prairie View to get the new stadium. Alumni did not want to back a multi-million-dollar initiative to get a stadium because the old Blackshear field looked like a middle school field. But they like, well, we got to save money here, blah, blah, blah. It took, now I don't know who spearheaded it, but it took a strong push to finally get it. And now Prairie View has probably the best-looking stadium in the SWAC. You have to step out on a limb and step outside your own mind. And I love primetime because I'm tired of being an HBCU fan for pretty much my whole life, right? So when I saw his commercial doing the auto commercial thing, when he's playing Must Be the Money at the end, I put it on my channel. That is what you got to market. That's the clip you got to market at now. You got to come out there with charisma. You got to tap into something that normally coaches, again, they don't want no part of that shit. They want to go to the office, 6 a.m, game plan, prep, which is good. That's all good. But you got to get some horses that want to come buy into your vision. Because all of them ain't going to buy into your X and O's. They're going to buy into your mind. And so when Prime goes out and does these kind of things, it's almost like what we trying to do with old media. We got to take this old stoic mentality out of what HBCU football is and apply some of these new ideas because that's what resonates with kids. Even me, I was maybe a one-star recruit. I wanted to be courted. I wanted coach to come to my living room. The coach that came to my living room was Daryl Harris. That's why I signed at Prairie View. Like, we want that shit, man. And coaches can't be lazy, man. You got to understand, man, they want to go brag to their friends. Like, kids now brag about the offers they get, and we didn't really do that back then. But they'll post on social media about an offer or, like, interest. So you got to understand, you got to move with the mindset of the kid and get ahead of that shit and be at the vanguard because you're going to get the kids you want, man. Just do a little more effort, man. That's all I'm asking.
Who Jargon, you preaching to the choir today? It ain't even Sunday. It ain't even Sunday. You let the church say amen. Shout out to Son of Jones, Mr. Jones. He said new media. Good to have you aboard, my brother. Hoop Jargon, I want to play this from Deion Sanders, what he said to his team. This is the difference between coaches who are just trying to coach to get that bag and coaches who are trying to teach young men. This is what Deion Sanders said.
The people was gracious enough to bless me with 2 trucks. I want y'all to make me be Coach Prime. Coach Prime got a few different hats.
Oh, here we go.
He's an entrepreneur, he's a marketing guy, he's all kinds of stuff. He's very endorsable. And when companies like that bless me with vehicles, I think about y'all. Because I don't need it like that. But some of y'all do. I want to come out here like Big Red on a Foul Heartbeat. And just throw down, 15 keys. Let's get in that mindset that you deserve the best too. You deserve a new field. We're going to get there. You deserve new uniforms. We got that. You deserve new helmets. Those are coming. You deserve new everything. That stuff is on its way. Why not y'all? But in order to do that, you got to give us something. You got to be there. But I want y'all to challenge me for the rest of the season and here on to make sure I go get my hustle on for y'all. Because it's going to happen. Why would it happen? Just because we're the HBCU? Huh? Just because we really don't play on national TV quite a bit, which we are this weekend? Why? Because it has been done? Why can't it happen? Why not us? Why not us? Why can't we be the first one to do it like this? Ain't no Power 5 doing it like we doing it. Boom. The day, if it's August the 1st, that they say we can get paid by an image and likeness, I promise you, August the 1st at 12:01, whatever time that is, we're going to lay some of y'all out. Y'all going to be straight. And y'all make me hold my word to that. And I don't lie. I cry tears before I lie to you. Why can't y'all have the same damn mindset? What's stopping y'all from doing that? A woman? The hood? Some weed? Some alcohol? Some attention? Some focus? The schoolwork? What is it? You find out what's stopping y'all. And you eliminate that and focus on your dream and your goal. Why not y'all? Hey, I believe on 3. 1, 2, 3. I believe.
Coach Prime, man. He said a mouthful.
Bro, does that not sound what LeVar has told his kids? Like, somebody got to be better than Jordan. Why not you?
Yep.
Why not you? Bro, that would make me, at 18 to 22 years old, maybe run through a wall for that coach, man. That is a difference. Now, I'm not saying it's not great motivator. I've heard some great motivators. But, like, you're selling a vision, and the best part is you're putting that in them to move forward in life with that same mentality, that I deserve the best. So I'm going to go out and get it. I'm going to go out and get it because reality is 1% of them guys going to fail. At best. At best. But you're going to have guys who are going to never settle for bullshit in the street. So he mentioned like alcohol, drugs, basically distractors. When you put that in young men's minds, man, you're helping where they probably don't have fathers to do that. So that made me respect them on a whole nother level, man, because they don't hear this shit. Believe it or not, fellas, these kids don't hear this shit like that. Not put to it in that way. So that was beautiful, bro.
Yeah. He said it best. Why not us? Why can't we get top-notch facilities? Why can't we get the best gear? Like D. Mill said, that's a winning mentality, man. And that's why these players play so hard for him. I'm not surprised with Deion Sanders in his recruiting. I absolutely believe that in the upcoming recruiting classes, it's going to get better each year. And that's a scary fact. Could you imagine if somehow Jackson State not only wins the SWAC in the future, right, but wins the FCS championship if they allow them, though? Because I think they do a SWAC bowl or something like that. But if they could...
No, go ahead, DJ, my bad.
Yeah, if they could win a SWAC, go undefeated, and let's say they beat I think they got UL Monroe and Southern Miss. If they beat those FCS schools, things are really going to change then.
Yeah, they'd have to get into the polls for that to work, and so it's gonna be an offshoot. So this team, the B team as we call them, they're gonna play an important part in that because that's gonna help prognosticate the team for next year as far as the hype train. So they got to kind of mow through the competition so that gets them polls because FCS schools can be in the FBS poll. So, but that winning streak is what sells the story. So you know how that goes, man. It's politics. It's hilarious. Like that's why teams like UCF can go undefeated. It can't get a championship, bid. Now it's the schedule. They're gonna factor in stuff like that, but you got to have a story to sell. So this team is very important to springboard the next 2 years as well. So I will say that in that regard.
Right, true that. B Mill says, what if they get ranked in the top 25? Well, that changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, UCF has been too, like as high as like 4 or something like that. But they didn't get a national championship bid. So it's just a lot of bureaucracy you got to overcome to get in that space. But I think these are going to be the pioneers for this program, man. I think people need to understand and respect that.
Absolutely. What do you see? What type of team can emulate in the SWAC, in the HBCU schools, can emulate what Jackson State is trying to do? Now, I know Jackson State started winning a couple games and it's new to them, but I'm saying the style that they're doing it, the recruiting strategy to wanting to have better facilities, who's going to match that, you think?
Man, so you know what's funny? So I'm gonna find the video. Dion's first endorsement. Damn, I didn't know the HBCU was doing like this. He was at Prairie View. They had like a HBCU high school combine like 2 years ago.
Right.
And he's like,
They
damn,
did.
I didn't know y'all was doing that. Yeah, he said, I don't know y'all doing like this in PV. Damn, all right, PV, I see you. So and that was before anybody knew he had any aspirations to come and coach at the HBCU level. That's when he was at what's the name of the school? Was it not Prime Prep? The school he was just at with his son.
Trinity Christian.
There you go. That's when he brought his kids down there. So I say that to say because Prairie View, man, it was a school, a bottom feeder in football. Like if you look at ESPN, we had the worst football team in sports history. 10 years in a row have not won a game because we didn't have scholarships. Since then, we won a SWAC championship. And in the last 3 years, we got a new stadium, like a big state-of-the-art stadium. And so we also switched our initiative. And I got to give credit. You know who our AD was when we started moving forward?
Who?
The AD that Jackson State has right now, which is Ashley Robinson.
Right.
Young brother. We had him at Prairie View when he was on the uptick. So he got his first AD gig at Prairie View. So when we started to push for the stadium, we started to push for having better the Adidas endorsement that we have now. Ashley was at the head of that. So we are kind of taking his vision and still going up. So if you're asking me who can mimic that style, the same school he was just at, Ashley Robinson, man. That's at Prairie View A&M, in my opinion.
Yeah, and in hoop jargon, you're not saying it just because you went to Prairie View.
Hell no.
I believe what you're saying. Prairie View A&M has changed the game with the SWAC. It hasn't been talked about the new stadium, the gear. I watched them play against Grambling, and I'm like, man, their jerseys are clean. It just
and it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, I know. B Mill says Howard. Well, Howard they could be better than what they are. They have the history there, the academics, the resources. So they could be. It just depends on your AD. When you have an AD and a coach who has a strong vision, things can change. You see what Ashley Robinson did with the Prairie View A&M. And you see him what he's doing with Jackson State.
No, but we've been dominating basketball too. The men's program, we ain't lost a home game in like 2 years. Like, so it's not far-fetched. Again, I'm not being biased to Prairie View because I get very critical of my school. Now, Howard, that's a very interesting one. I'm a little bothered that y'all couldn't keep Caitlin Newton, which is Cam Newton's younger brother, when he went, and he had like a very good freshman year. Y'all almost beat UNLV. Or did they beat UNLV? They did get real close. It's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, they got real close to beating them.
They got real close. And he had a hell of a game. He transferred next year. I'm like, why did you transfer? So the player retention of a player that profile, that kind of bothers me. Howard is probably the most popular HBCU in this country. I wonder, like DJ was saying, like what's the leadership doing to build that forward, knowing you got all that notoriety off rip. In DC, that's kind of a hard place. If you ever been to Howard's campus, it ain't the sexy place to be in the world, man. That's right there in the hood of DC, man. So, hey, I gotta see what the vision is before I co-sign that.
Yeah, they leave that part off, hoop jargon.
Bro, that's the hood, dog. You ever been to Howard? Go to Howard, bro. That's the hood.
Yeah, that is the hood, man. But hoop jargon, man, this has been a great show. I love talking about other things. I know we all talk about LaMelo and Ball family, but I like to switch it up, man.
It's dope, man. We found a way to bring LeVar in. We brought LaMelo in. We brought Jello in. So we brought it all full circle, man.
Absolutely, man. Make sure you subscribe to Hoop Jargon's channel. Let's get them monetized. If that happens, you'll see Hoop Jargon making so many videos that spin your head.
Seriously, man. I be needing that motivation, man. Y'all help motivate your boy, man. I be at work, I get so bogged down, and then I hop on and I see DJ and Rev and Coach cooking. I be like, damn, I need to go make a video. So y'all hold me accountable. Like Prime said, hold me accountable, man. I'm gonna put out more content at a high clip, man. And YouTube, I gotta say, man, they hugged me on my LaMelo Ball video I made. It's probably the best one I made, and it will not pass the editing stage as far as being uploaded. So I'm gonna go double check why the reason is, but I put a real good one together, man. It's not letting me publish it, man. I'm pretty pissed about that, to be honest.
Let me read this real quick. King James Bible University says Tennessee State got to come back. They play where the Titans play, got to upgrade the whole campus, get Richard Dent, DRC to show up and be involved with the media side. Yeah. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie played there and had a solid NFL career. Richard Dent played with the Bears when they won the championship, was a dog back then. What they have to do is not just the coaches, they got to market their school, the former NFL players, and tell these brothers that, hey, I did it. I didn't go to Alabama. I didn't go to Ohio State. I didn't go to Texas, Oklahoma. I didn't go to those schools, but I made something of myself. They got to see it up and close in person. And when these kids have recruiting trips, that's who they meet. A Richard Dent, a Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Like, let's say if they go to Tennessee State for a recruiting visit, they see those two brothers, then that spinning wheel goes through their head. And like, wait a minute, I could just go here and make a name for myself. I could be that guy.
And let me say this, DJ. This is one of the few HBCUs that's not in a HBCU conference. So they played, I think, in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I've been to this campus too, man. They got a lot they can work with. Now, I ain't been there in 10 years, so they got a lot of space that they can work with. Now, in a competitive like little market where Vanderbilt's there, Meharry College is there, and it's another university I'm probably forgetting, in that Nashville area. But I gotta agree with that comment. I think Tennessee State is one of them schools that can elevate too if they play it the right way. That's a great comment.
I would love for Tennessee State to be dominant in a non-HBCU conference and flexing on the other conference teams with a bunch of black players. I would love to see it. But they do have the potential to upgrade. And I didn't even mention North Carolina A&T. They have been the consistency of HBCUs in football.
Facts.
Even in basketball, especially football. They keep growing their program. Their head coach does a great job over there.
Even with that ugly ass logo.
Oh boy. They need to make an alternate. They need to make an alternate logo.
Bruh. Like they made that mug on Microsoft Tools. Let me stop it.
Oh Lord. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Hoop Jargon's channel as well. We will be doing a live today on the game with LaMelo Ball and the Kings. Hopefully Halliburton plays. But peace out. Deuces.